Good morning and welcome to Brandenburg News Network. I am Donna Brandenburg, and it is the 23rd day of July 2024. And I'm going to tell you right now that my whole day this morning just went in crazy directions that I can't even explain right now. And so we're just going to fly off the cuff with us this morning. John canceled and had to cancel, and so did Courtney. So I'm here with my buddies who are true friends who will actually when Donna throws a curveball at them, they'll say, "Yeah, sure, I'm here." I love that about you guys. How you guys doing, Ralph and Karen?
Good. How are you?
Good. Trying to get on my feet here, but we're here. This is going to be.
I'm sorry. I'm in the garden right now, so if you hear water, it's not me peeing in the house. I'm running a hose.
I really like this whole honesty is the best policy thing, because last few days I've just been kind of sick of all the games. I'm just going to tell everybody that right now. There's so many games being played out there. I'm believing nothing that I'm hearing, like zero, nada, not one clip of anything am I believing from either side, all sides, right, left, up, down, behind. It doesn't matter. I am not believing anything, and I mean anything that I'm seeing. Oh, and this is funny. I've got one of the channels, one of the Rumble channels. No, that's backup feed. Okay. Is also not working this morning, and one of the X channels is not working, which is really interesting. There's something going on here that's a lot bigger than what I think everybody understands. The whole CrowdStrike thing that happened this week was absolutely there's some facts behind that are kind of shocking and concerning. Have you guys been following all of it, and what's your opinion on what you're seeing? Because I've got a lot of questions.
I'm aware, but I haven't been following it in detail. I'm going to guess that Ralph is following it more than I do.
Yeah. And to a certain extent, honestly, I see most of the companies that have problems with this are because they have tried to outsource too much of their IT to a separate company and tried to cut corners in ways that they shouldn't have. That's kind of my opinion. But on the other hand, I would have to agree with a lot of the memes that I've been seeing that are like the crowd. Let's see, there was one really good one that I saw that was
put it in the private chat and I'll throw it up on screen for you. Okay, Ralph?
I'm not sure I can do that, but I'll see what I can do. Yeah. Okay. Global Windows outage leaves Linux users even more smug than usual.
I like the one meme that's got the guy with the torn up ratty tennis shoes and says that if your IT guy looks like this, you probably don't have a problem.
Yep, that's about right. But yeah, that's the thing, is that with any of this stuff that's marketed as cloud services, the cloud isn't something magical. It's just somebody else's computer.
Yeah, and which puts you at an incredible risk whenever somebody else is handling all of your stuff. We've got a track record here. They're going to sell your information. We're in a surveillance state, and they're using it to make money. That's what's happening across the board. I wanted to show you something else this morning. So we're going to bring up the fake Biden presidency, because I've been trying to be kind of workable and quiet on this, but I'm going to say we got a dead guy running the country right now. And look at this. So there was a transfer into a committee named Harris for President on May 31st, 2024, to the tune of $28 million, and some change, dollars into her fund May 31st. And I don't know about you guys, but I am not buying this. This feels like a weekend at Bernie's, and I think they've been propping them up for a long time. And I've got, watching what happened at the Republican convention, I've got some real questions about that too. I've said it for a long time that when you look at people and you compare things like heights and such, I don't think that we're seeing people that they're telling us we're seeing. I don't know if they're all doubles. I don't know if they're silicone masks. I don't know. I don't have an answer on some of that, but I've got a lot of questions that seem to dead end into straight into the sign that says, you're not seeing truth out in the open. And I think that that's a good thing to get to that point where I'm saying good morning to everybody in the chats right now, by the way, where we're questioning what we're seeing and believing almost nothing. And then that puts us in the position of having to do our own research and see what's really going on. I think I got a guy that I found.
So I'm trying to get this
listen
straight.
to this.
The party that's all about defending democracy rigs 2 primaries in a row in 2016 and 2020 against Bernie. Then in 2024, they roll with a corpse as their presidential candidate and forbid anybody from challenging the corpse. And then when they can no longer gaslight Americans about his condition, they toss him aside like he's a rotting vegetable and then proceed to rig their 3rd straight primary by nominating a candidate that no one was able or allowed to vote for. So that's what they mean by defending democracy, in case you haven't already noticed. They tell you what to do, and you shut up. So I'm trying to get this.
And that's honestly, that's what I'm seeing all the way across the board, because the people that are in play, they don't want their money structure going away. They don't care about us, everyday Americans. They could care less. And I had a call that I made this week, and I caught somebody in a lie. All right. And what was really interesting is the person that I was talking to sat there and gave me his military pedigree, not one time, but about 3 times or 4 times over to make that seem like everything's okay because he's military. And I was like, after a while, I honestly, you know what I said? I'm like, your military pedigree right now means absolutely nothing to me. Jack shit going on here, because there are infiltrators into every single area. And this person said to me, he goes, well, you need to trust this person because they've got a direct line. I was trying to do something where I saw a threat to President Trump, and I was trying to get it up to him, but nobody's listening, right? And so he was telling me that this other person, I should trust this woman because she's got a direct line, and told me that I had told her, or that I had sent her a document. And I said, well, I didn't send her a document. So now you're telling me that she's lying. You're lying. One of you is lying right now. And his voice started shaking, and he's not believing anything. And I'm like going, guys, I'm not believing any of this. And if you can't get to the top to talk to the people that need to be talked to, what's going on? I have never been able to talk to President Trump. And during this whole thing over the last 4 years or so, did you guys see a change in what was being said here, there, and everywhere? I have. And I don't know anything. I've never been able, I've been to Mar-a-Lago 3 times, but I've never been able to talk to him. I would think that you would have your candidates, all of them, be able to talk to someone, right? Shouldn't that be a red flag to everyone? It was for me. And I haven't said much. I've been kind of quiet about it. But when you see what it started out with President Trump at the beginning, and see where we are right now with J.D. Vance in place, who absolutely has had nothing good to say about President Trump. In fact, I've got another video. I'm going to put this thing up because I have to wonder what's really going on there. Is President Trump being blackmailed? Does he have good people around him? Is nobody around him telling him the truth? Or does he know the truth and he's throwing them out there so that everybody can see exactly how bad it is, and waiting for us to get our heads out of our behinds and start, Karen, you and I had this discussion this morning. I've been questioning things for a very long time. I may not say everything that's on my mind, though people don't think that that's the truth. But a lot of times I just kind of ponder things in that well category and see how it plays out. Because if we don't have concrete proof, we can't come out and just say, well, this is the way it is, right? So we wait until we have the concrete proof. I'm going to quickly put up another video on my Telegram channel that came across this morning. And I think that this is something we need to question this, because there's a fund out there called Trump Victory, or a group of people called Trump Victory. I have another person who's a bit of an informant that I talk to on a regular basis. And when you look at Trump victory, they're the ones that are raising all the big money for President Trump, but stamping his name on things. They're stamping his name on everything because we all love him and have watched the policies put in place when he was in the position of the presidency of the United States, and who is already and still is the rightful president of the United States, because they cheated, they rigged it, they stole it from him. They stole our votes of who we wanted to have in place. And I will stand with this to fight for him and because fighting for President Trump to have the rightful office and occupy the rightful office is fighting for the United States of America and every single one of us in our voices. So hang on a minute. I'm going to play this video a second and say this once again is JD Vance. And I am questioning this, and nobody said anything. Nobody said a thing. It's like we're just going to go along to get along and say nothing. Listen to this.
Never Trump guy. I never liked him. It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like you said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
So, as a conservative who thinks that Trump does not have the answer.
And by the way, I think that that's a lie. I think President Trump absolutely cared about America and was running the United States as the greatest president we have ever had. His policies were spot on. You could see his compassion and love for people. And I mean, just watch how, and we had no wars. That's why they're lying. That's why they're putting bad people in around him. That's why it's going, and that's why they're trying to wake people up and say, you got to stop going along with what they tell you to do and start thinking and evaluating things. So here we go.
Isn't qualified to be president. What are you going to do this election, if you don't mind saying?
My current plan is to vote either third party, or as I joke to my wife, I might write in my dog, because that's about as good as it seems. But, you know, I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. Ultimately, I think I'll probably vote third party. I might vote for this new guy who I really like, Evan McMullin, who I actually met the other day. But I think that I'm going to vote for. I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Okay, so when I see that, all I think of is Pence 2.0, but because I don't believe that you can radically change views, not as well as being in with Peter Thiel and such. I don't believe that. So when we watched what happened with Pence ahead of time, Pence is a traitor. Pence was in with some very, very bad people. And I think there's some very, very bad people that are pulling the strings on this. And it's up to us, you and me, regular everyday Americans. Nobody's out there that nobody will talk to, nobody will listen to. I tried to get word to Colonel McGregor the other day. The guard dogs were standing right in the way. And so they wouldn't. I said, well, why do you want the information? Well, we'll just put it up there to him. I'm like going, and I'm supposed to trust this? You just lied to me. Why am I supposed to trust you at this point? I'm not going to. And if they really want to start saving people, they need to start talking to everyday Americans, not just protecting their little power structure. And I really believe that, guys. I absolutely believe that.
So I was looking for.
Why was it that they blocked it, or why was it that I couldn't talk to Colonel McGregor?
I was looking for a video that I watched a while back about an account of an early Japanese visitor to the United States after Japan kind of opened up to the West, and I just put a link in the private chat there for it. But he was talking about going and visiting the president, and how even as a foreigner, how easy the access to all of these buildings was, and being able to even just go to the president and talk to him which was a distinctly American thing at the time, because the president was supposed to be basically just a normal, everyday American. And how the Americans did this way on purpose because they didn't like all of the hierarchical power and class structure kind of stuff that they left in Europe, and that this was supposed to be, the people themselves in these offices, not some high and mighty politician. And you look at that in contrast to what we have now, and it's amazing what has changed in 150 years.
So I'm going to make so Lev says, how do we vote for Trump and not Vance? Well, I'm voting for President Trump. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I am definitely voting for President Trump. I will fight for him and his rights, because when he was, as he said, they're after you. They're not after me. I'm just standing in the way. I think I think he served honorably. I think he is an amazing individual. I hope he's okay. I really do. But here's another theory that I have. Okay, so I've got a lot of theories. I got no answers to this right now, but I've got some theories. And that would be that I've seen pictures of J.D. Vance, and I don't know if age has been kind to him, but he looks different than he used to a little bit, just like a lot of people do. And I'm wondering if there's been a little switcheroo there, and we're not seeing the same person, or if he's, I don't know if he's rehabilitated. When I saw him in the back room, there was a video of in the back room with President Trump. They sure acted like they were all friends, and that could be something. But when you look at someone who's so tied into the deep state, including the Michigan oligarchs, as well as Peter Thiel and CIA, Mossad, and GCHQ and such, the links are there. Is it that he's decided to come forward and be a whistleblower? The pattern. These are all the questions I have. And then also, if that's the case, that President Trump is playing the card of keep your enemies closer, that could very well be. He does throw people out there to be exposed, and I love that about him. I mean, it's like 4D chess. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Are there guys behind the scenes, and I mean guys being guys, girls, whatever, that are literally moving things around, because things are going in, I believe, a good direction when it comes to exposure and getting people to actually question, not being afraid to speak up and say what needs to be said, or even what's on their mind, and having these good discussions in order to actually be able to take the United States. Even if we cleaned all the rats out, guys, unless people are willing to step forward and take office, who are everyday Americans, you, me, everybody out there, we will never be able to write this. This is supposed to be the government, of the people, for the people, and, for the people, of the people, and by the people. That means that we've got to step forward. And something that was really odd this morning is I got up and I read the newsletters of Jonathan Cahn. I like him a lot. And I think he has a lot of good stuff to say. I really do. I don't have heroes necessarily that I never listen to what anybody is saying without questioning it. And I mean, that goes for anyone. Doesn't matter who they're. I question what people say. I question their motives. There are very, very few people that don't have self-serving motives out there. Very few. Most people are looking at things to game the system. Human beings are constantly making trades. It is the very, very rare person who does the right thing all the time, because that's the payoff. Is just that's the reward. The reward is being able to do good things and sit back and know that you stood for something, that you stood for something without expecting anything back, without making a trade, without wanting something back, that you do the right thing just because doing the right thing is the right thing to do, regardless what anybody around you does.
Regardless, really, I would say, even of whether there's an expectation of success.
Right.
Right. Because I think that's somewhere where a lot of people get lost, is they try for 5 minutes, don't succeed immediately, and give up.
Right.
And the fight is worth fighting, even if it's a losing battle. Doing the right thing is still worth the fight.
I agree. And I got to tell you, you guys will see me get real ornery about things. I get ornery because I'm like going, why is this so hard? Why is this such a hard fight? Why is it that it's taking people so long to wake up? Because the answer has always been in we the people. And until we start questioning the celebrity status of people and put this back into the proper procedure as I'm a nobody willing to serve. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Give me a broom. I don't really care. I can sweep the floor. It doesn't matter. As long as we're all doing something positive, every single effort that a person puts forward counts more than these clowns that are sitting in the seats who have the titles, who have all of the adoration and praise of everybody else out there. It's going to take some of us who just don't really care, but are willing to do whatever it takes. And, if you see me getting frustrated or annoyed with this whole thing, that's probably what you're seeing. It's like, come on, guys, just jump in the fight and do something, anything. You don't have to do the big things. You don't have to do, you don't have to have the weight of changing the world on your shoulders. You have to have just, what has God put in front of you today? What are you seeing that needs to be done? Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Go do it. Don't jump into the structures that are accepted as the only way to win, because they're not the only way to win. They are the way we've been sold as the only way to win, but they're not. God can do this all without us. And until we decide to walk away from the current sold MK Ultra nonsense that we've been taught to buy into, it's us. People keep asking me, well, will you run as a Republican? I'm like, going, whatever God asks me to do, I'm willing to do. It doesn't matter to me. If God asked me to run or to be part of the, U.S. Taxpayers Party as the vice president, will I do that? Yes, because it does make a difference. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask everybody out there. We've got and it's like we've got like two bullfrogs and a cricket out there. But let me tell you the strategy right now for me as I'm watching the Republican Party abysmally have some large failures. I'm seeing some gains. Okay, I'll give you that. The gains is that people are waking up and they're questioning things. But I didn't see anyone question the nomination of J.D. Vance. They just followed along. And there's something to be said about that. I'll give you that. And a lot of people say, well, why are you on the Taxpayers Party? Why are you doing this, that, or the other thing? Well, first of all, it was the Republican Party that removed me from the ballot. And there's been no apologies. There's been nobody that's actually necessarily stepped up and said, Donna, we care about you. We know what happened to you. We understand. And that sort of thing. So for me to run right back into a brick wall would be exactly what doing that. So I sit on the outside, and there's a lot that I can change and do from the outside. And I don't necessarily need all the titles. Okay. There's a lot that can be done in that perspective. But for the Taxpayers Party, which is the Constitution Party in the state of Michigan, we are keeping up ballot access. There's no possible way that Randall Terry's going to win the presidency. It's not going to happen. He actually said that, which is why I voted for him.
Hang on. I'm thinking outside the box all the time. So think outside the box with me for a moment. We don't have a proof of life for Joe Biden.
Right.
We know that we have seen body doubles for Trump, Kamala Harris, and just about every other politician that we see on a daily basis for some time. What if they're all dead except for him, except for Randall?
There is a high likelihood that there is not one thing we've seen that's actually necessarily real, because we don't know.
I would have a very easy time believing that, and I have wondered the same for quite a while.
I think there's a lot of us that have.
most of the politicians out there may actually just be a fictitious character being played by several actors.
So this is I have so many thoughts.
So let's go down this path, because yesterday we got so off the rails it wasn't even funny, but everybody else that commented back to me said this is like the best show you've ever done, because I actually questioned all of reality.
Well, let's top it then.
Okay, let's just do that. Let's go there and throw out every single supposed conspiracy theory, which may not be a conspiracy theory at all. It may actually be reality, because nothing is making sense.
Well, the way I see it, there is an awakening happening in the general public. And you and I and Ralph, we've hit a lot of points ahead of the field. And
because we're willing to question them. That's why. Well, it doesn't mean that we're right. We're asking questions.
Yes, but I think also, as I was telling you this morning, my husband is trying to explain to me, you have a higher level of intelligence than a lot of people. And I have to sit back with that. And as I said, it's kind of like looking from the perspective of Solomon. Solomon had more wisdom than anybody around him because God gave him this gift. He was depressed about it sometimes because these other people didn't see things the way he did, and what they were seeing and acting upon and how they were living their lives was not what he would have appreciated them to do. And if you're above average intelligence, let's say, it's really frustrating waiting for the rest of the field to catch up. But that's where I have said all along, especially, for example, with the COVID thing, the people who got shots, we are not, quote unquote, purebloods. That puts us in a divisive place above other people. No, they are just behind us in the awakening. They may not have the same level of intelligence. They may not have the same level of critical thinking that we have. God did not bless them the way he blessed you. That doesn't mean they are less than you. That means we have to have extra compassion and patience for people who don't have the ability to see what we are seeing. They have been blinded, they have been deafened, and it's not necessarily their fault. But what I see happening now is that normies, as we like to call them, and that's not a word like retard. It's not an offensive word to me. Normies are starting to ask questions like Ralph was questioning the PDF. Why did Biden make that statement on a Twitter channel that even his staff was surprised by? Do we have, and his signature is not the same. I actually thought about going to the executive orders and comparing it, and I thought, it's kind of a waste of my time because they could easily fake it. Well, Jack Posobiec, if I said that right, he or somebody did that because he posted it. The signature is different. So normies now are also thinking, well, why haven't we seen Joe? I want to see Joe. Well, who are you going to see? That's the next step.
Right.
And some of them are there, and some of them are on the way there. They're starting to think, like the video you shared. Some people are starting to answer, well, wait a minute. If he's dead, how long has he been dead? And they're starting to see maybe these people that have been pointing out the differences in the ears and the eye color, and is that a mask? Maybe there's some truth to that. What if? Now they're starting to ask the question, what if? And I keep referring to movies lately. There's a movie called Dave, I think it is, where a guy acted as a president because the real one was incapacitated. And every time I've done a search for it on the Dish Network, it doesn't come up. I wonder why that is. You can't access it because they don't want you thinking about that possibility. I've known that we have seen multiple doubles for Trump for some time. That's not a surprise to me. I'm wondering who was the guy that was actually shot. I believe he was shot. I don't know how that he survived it. Was it an act of God or was it something different? I don't know. I think it's the same guy that went to the RNC. I don't have an answer for how can his family interact with him as if he is the real Trump. I have a lot of questions about that, but I see a golfing Trump. I see a Trump that puts his thumb up and smiles really big for people when they pose.
Branding. It's like branding. They're branding the look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have the same thing so that people don't question it, because typically people will see things. Okay, let me throw this out here. You talked about special gifts, right? Mm-hmm. Normal people see about 25,000. Let's see, 250,000 colors. There's some of us who see in the millions. I happen to be one of them. And somebody pointed that out quite a few years ago because I'm literally that color sensitive or sensitive to see different things that other people don't see. I don't know why. I don't know why. I've always been
gifted.
What's that?
You were gifted. Put it that way.
It's a gift.
Well, and tetrachromacy is a thing.
What's that?
Tetrachromacy is a thing where you have 4 different colors, 4 different cone types in your eyes instead of 3. Which is basically actually just the female version of being colorblind.
That is what I have. I can see things that nobody else seems to pick up, and I don't know why. And it's just the way it is. And that's a physical gift, but there's also spiritual gifts that some of us have that we see things completely different, right? And it's an okay thing. And also leaders. Let me go back to leaders. I had a situation yesterday that was incredible. And Karen and I were talking about this. It is sometimes it's a problem for people, but other times if you're in the right situation, it's a good thing. So I ended up having to face off with a tenant, and I'm going to tell you what happened. I don't normally talk about this, but I think that people need to know that some of us are on the front line every day dealing with people who are not coping. They're not coping. I do a lot of a conflict resolution. I do a lot of mediation. I do a lot of this. I've done it for years, and I'd say I'm pretty skilled at it typically in turning things around. And the reason being is that I don't get thrown emotionally in situations that are hostile. Okay. So I walked into this one building. I was meeting somebody who's going to be refinishing hardwood floors in one of the units. And it was because somebody didn't take care of their pet. And so the urine soaked into the floor and destroyed part of the wood floor in this very old building. Beautiful building, beautiful 12-foot high ceilings. It's gorgeous. Okay, it's gorgeous. So I'm a little bit miffed going in there anyway. So as I'm walking into this apartment, I had to go up the stairs to get there. And I walked over, I heard a dog barking inside the entryway. And I walked in and there's dog pee on the floor, and I go up the stairs and there's a huge bit of dog pee up the floor. So I'm like going, great, somebody's letting their dog pee on the floor in this building. When you do income property, I'm going to tell you what, you see the worst of the worst of behavior. And I can tell stories, and I should write a book on this someday to tell people this is what we're having to deal with. And if you can't handle this, don't go into leadership. People are not coping. The people that we have in here, Patriot Don said Joe died in 2019. Can't wait for that to be explained. Yeah, I think a lot of these people have been dead for a very long time, if you really want to know the truth. But back to my story. So I walked up there and I knocked on the guy's door, and I'm like going, your dog is loose in the entryway here and just peeing on the floor. And he's like, well, my dog is incontinent. And I'm like, you're not going to make your problem into mine and everybody else's here, just so you know. And this can't happen. Well, the guy was totally the person that was there doing the floors was so shocked at his reaction because the guy got hostile immediately, because he's like, well, you don't understand. My dog is incontinent and you're telling me you don't care about my dog. And I'm like, well, he is letting his dog pee all over the entryway. So all the other tenants have to walk over his dog pee. And he has no concern for the people around him, for the damage he's creating, none of this. And so we had a pretty intense discussion. I'd say it was a very intense discussion. And I laid things out to him on, okay, I'm like, well, you are ruining the hardwood floors here. And I can tell you right now, his roommate ended up coming in and I said, we were talking and I said, just so you know, I said, this is going to be your responsibility. You are not going to make it mine. I'm not going to fix what you are ruining. And I have 10 years to go after you. And I will go after you for the cost of this, of damaging the building. Now you've got some options here, but the one that you're taking of just letting your dog pee on, and he admitted that that the dog had done it multiple times on not only the carpet, but the hardwood floors. I'm like, you're going to be responsible for the damage that you're creating. I'm not going to just sit here and let this pass. So you're going to have to figure out another option here. So I sent him a text and I said, so I could actually read the text to you if you'd like to see it, or read what I wrote, because people think that I'm unreasonable, and I'm very reasonable. But the biggest problem here was that the damage was being done and there was no responsibility. But I'll read you the text I sent, because I think it's important to know that this is how you communicate when you're a leader and you're resolving a problem. Okay. And I said hi to their names. And I said, this is in regard to your dog, which you admitted has an incontinence problem and is on medication for the chronic problem. When I walked up and I gave the address, the dog appeared to be loose in the entryway, and there was urine on both the first floor as well as the second floor. By your own admission, the dog has urinated on the stairs and repeatedly on the wood floor, which you said you clean up. This is an unacceptable situation and abusive to the other people in the building to have to be confronted with your dog's urine when entering and leaving the building. You will be responsible for all damage to the urine soaking into the flooring. To avoid the long-term expense and abuse of the rights of other tenants in the building and concern for their cleanliness, health, and safety, we don't feel that you are a good fit for the community. We are proposing to, and then I gave him some proposing, we were proposing to help him get into another situation, which might be more accommodating to fit his needs at that time, and please respond to the message. That's how I addressed it. Well, by last night, he texted, and I told him that I'm an animal lover. We're one of the only pet friendly. I think we're the only non-specific breed pet friendly businesses in the area. And so they wanted to call back. So I called him last night, and this younger gentleman, he's probably mid-20s, was like, I'm so embarrassed of how this came, and I want to apologize to you. And I was just like, it was one of the nicest apologies I think I've ever had. And he said, I am so stressed right now. And with the move and everything going on, he said, I didn't react well. And I'm so sorry. And I'm like, you are my favorite person right now. And I thank you for how you responded to this. So now let's come up with a strategy to both help you and your dog, instead of putting everybody else in a bad situation because you're dealing with an extensive and a problematic thing. And I'm willing to help with this. I'm absolutely willing to help. I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm saying we got off the phone, and I got to tell you, this gentleman that was on the phone is honestly one of my favorite people right now. And the way that we resolve this is the way that conflicts have to be resolved, and on all levels. You typically, if a person is willing to say, we have a problem and I'm sorry, I don't know how to deal with this, we can all work with that, right? Mm-hmm. When it's a person who was like the guy that was the military guy trying to sell me the Brooklyn Bridge there, and I knew he was bullshitting and covering up a lie. It was a lie. And it was a lie to mislead not just me, but everybody else. That was the problem. Not dealing with a problem where somebody saw clear and present danger to not only President Trump, because when you're talking about danger to President Trump, you're talking about everyone. If in fact the shooting in Butler was real, and I've been to Butler, we worked there for 3 years in that area with our pipeline company. I know that area well. And I sat there and I'm like going, somebody lost their life. If this was real, you put President Trump in another situation where there's not a handle on it. It's not just him or the person playing him or the people who are voting for him. It is every single person in America. The people that are in office stand for us. They go down, we go down. If they put somebody in place who is a traitor to this nation or who is funded by traitors, we go down. It's about all of us standing together. And if you can't get to somebody who can get the message to President Trump or the people around him, because we've got people lying and blocking the message up there, those people are traitors. Do you see what I'm saying? You can make an evaluation based on that. I will not cut traitors or somebody who's specifically misleading the American population, our brothers and sisters, our family and friends out there. I will not give them a pass. You can't. But if it's us standing together, people make mistakes, and we can come together and resolve. I've made a lifetime out of conflict mediation, out of negotiating with, God knows, the gas and oil companies and these corporate entities who are absolutely corrupt to the core. They're corrupt. They put people in place. It's just like the political venue. It's all political. People do terrible things for money. I've seen it and lived it and had to navigate it. And we are in that situation right now politically, and people are going to have to step up and question things instead of just buying them hook, line, and sinker, because our sports teams go because we want them to win at all costs. What if those people in them are unknowingly being misled? I think there's a lot of that going on. I think there's a lot of people who unknowingly are being misled, but they want to win so badly, and they want to believe in these structures so badly, in these groups. They want to be part of a group, that they stop questioning what's going on, even if they see something wrong.
I think there's a ton of that, of falsehood filtering down and being propagated by people who truly believe it. And that's something that, I advocate for quite heavily, is even the people that you trust, you should still be open to questioning the information that you're getting from those people that you trust, because while you trust them as a person, they may have been fed information that's incorrect as well.
And they may just be just as lost as you are, unknowing.
Yeah.
There are people that are doing it that know what they're doing. They are
absolutely
knowingly committing fraud. They're lying, they're cheating, and they're stealing.
There's a root source for the lies.
Yes.
But I think a lot of the people that are telling this stuff and propagating it are doing it unknowingly.
I think the hardest part here is that, Q says, trust no one, right? Or maybe that's just what we do. Trust no one, trust nothing. And that includes Trump. Why did he select Vance? If you're not asking that question, then you're putting too much trust in Trump. I trust Trump, but I trust him in a narrative way. And you have to see above that.
Yes.
That's the tricky thing. That's the really tricky thing. For example, you and I have often shared and talked about the endorsements. And that's been a real big one for us, is that he sometimes will endorse people that we know aren't good. For one reason, we can say, well, he's a Republican. What else can he do? He has to, endorse what the Republican Party gives him. that's his role to play in the show. So I think there's that. But is there also something more? The way that he does his endorsements. If you constantly are reviewing that, you might find some interesting things. Whatever he endorses or whoever he endorses, they've been put there by a Republican Party, not by the people. Same thing with Biden, and that's another aspect of awakening. People in the Democratic Party are starting to figure out what they didn't figure out in 2016. I've been hearing about Bernie Sanders getting replaced by Hillary because not because the people wanted that, but because the people in charge wanted that.
Yep. And they've got, the Democrat Party's got the whole super delegate problem that the people's opinion and within that party is absolutely irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read something that somebody else wrote, and I think there's some truth to this. I believe it's low 5G waves, this from Charlotte, causing schizophrenia and mind confusion with vaccine, 100% brought to you by the government, corrupt NGOs. Well, let's throw something else in there. Let's throw all the CIA MK crap that's going on that is shutting people down, and then the political structure which shames people because they function like a cult. It's like the Masons. You'll get to level 3, and if you don't fall lockstep in with the Masons, you're not quite ready to progress because you're not willing to drink the Kool-Aid, hook, line, and sinker.
I've met some
this
people
is a problem.
too. I've met some people too that I consider to be good people who are Masons, who will swear up and down that there are no levels to the whole Masonic thing past level 3. And I truly think it's because they are good people and they're being kept kind of in the dark at that stage so that they don't go in and expose all of the bad things. But, you know, once again, it's one of those things where people say, oh, all the Masons are bad. Well, I have met some that I consider to be very good people. It's just you got to look at things a little bit more carefully than just saying, oh, this entire group is bad without questioning anything about it.
The Democrats, for example.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well, there are some very good people fighting for good in pretty much every organization right now.
Yes. And I think that's it. It's like we've got a lot of very good people that they see something and it resonates with them. And they're like, this is a good thing. I want to be involved in this because they're right. Well, yeah, but
I did that.
You know, and I remember the conversations that we've had, Karen, over that. It's like when you were talking about we've all done it. There's not one of us who has had one bomb-proof claim that can say we've never been misled. We've all been misled. Okay, these people are professional at it, and you know, so it's not that any of us are better than anybody else, but we're human beings, and that makes us not God. We don't have all the answers, which is why you have to rely on him because he knows everything. He sees it. He sees everything. Even the child sacrifice that's going on. He sees it. He knows what these people are doing. He knows what we're doing in our lives when we think that we're hiding what we're doing. I gave that completely up. Okay. I'm not, if you talk to me, that's why people get a little annoyed with me because I will say what's on my mind. Or I'll just be quiet sometimes, but I won't mislead people knowingly ever. And I'm not a person who will lie for any amount of money on the planet or anything. I won't lie. It doesn't serve. It's sin. It's just sin.
Mm-hmm.
You got to walk away. You got to cut the sin and the bad stuff out of our life. This is one of the problems that we have as a nation and as a people. Yep. It's excusing sin and saying, well, I've got the right to do that. Yeah, you got the right to be stupid too. So go ahead and be stupid all you want. But it is a self-destructive and destructive to the world destructive to God. It hurts God when we do this. He created us. I think he created us to learn to be like him. Well, that means that we should be introspective. We should be looking at ourselves and saying, what do I need to do to change to be a better person? And that's not beating yourself up. It's just looking. Exactly. I remember when I started running for governor, I'm going to tell you what, for about 2 weeks there, God was handing me my tail. And I remember praying and going, man, I guess I got to repent of this. It wasn't really that it was a sin per se, but it was a change I needed to make. And I'm like, whatever you want me to do, just let me know. And I was like, oh man. And I remember him saying, you got a great skill set. It's not good enough. And you're going to have to learn very, very quickly some things that you don't know. I'd never been in politics before. I was just an everyday American that got pretty much thrown to the wolves and abandoned. And like, I could see the guys back there that asked me, let's see what Brandenburg does. Let's see what she actually does with us. Okay. And then pink, launch Brandenburg and see what happens and watch her get eaten alive. And that's pretty much what happened. And am I upset about it? No. You want to know why? Because it always comes back to that. What are you going to do if you don't have a structure? Everybody in the military, they got a structure. They got somebody they can rely on and lean back on. You go out there as an individual, you don't really have even anybody to so much talk to. And half the people you talk to are the ones that are betraying you. That's really what happened. But you find your real friends like you guys. And there are people that are out there that I know are watching today. I know who you are. I know who stayed with me. And I know who were helping. I know a lot of the people that were helping behind the scenes. And I picked up on the code words, and I picked up on the things that they said to identify themselves. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because, but I know, and I saw the patterns because that's what I see are patterns and such. So I knew that there were really good people working behind the scenes. Tom, thank you. We will support you. I believe, I thank you for that. And it's just like, it almost brings tears to my eyes because almost everybody that came to me and said that they were there to help were basically sent by the bad guys. There wasn't hardly anyone that was for real that came necessarily to say, I'm here to help. Not in a state of, 11 million people, there was, but it was a group of people that were for real, that were maybe working behind the scenes, that were seeing. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm so thankful that I lost I'm thankful that I lost. I have no bad feelings about it. People want to say, oh, you're sour grapes. Have you people listened to me for 5 minutes? Like, have you ever asked me? Or are you just virtue signaling how you'd feel in that position? You don't think the way I do. I don't know anybody that actually thinks the way that I do or sees the things that I see. It can be said for everybody out there. It's arrogant to think that you know how anybody thinks or feels. It's like, I don't know how people think or feel, but I can step in and try to help them. That's presumptuous. It's like, you ever have that when somebody dies? When I lost my first baby, I was shocked at the responses people gave me. And I was like, oh, that's how they would feel in this situation. I didn't feel that way. Or my dad died. It was really kind of funny.
Yeah, I think we all have. I've been saying this for as long as Karen the Riveter's been around. Find your role to play. And that shifts and it changes. Your role. I'll use my mom as an example. My mom, getting older, she's got some arthritis in her hands. And so she was telling me about how her church was going to be doing a big potluck dinner for the community. And she said, I feel bad because I want to do some crock pot stuff, but I just can't handle that size gear, equipment. I can't carry the pot. I can't move it around. I can't do what I need to do on that scale. And in the same conversation, she was telling me about how she was crocheting these little wrist covers. They're hand warmer kind of things. And she was trying, because she's in a newer place. They've only lived there for about a year and a half now. And she's like, I don't know where to take these. I want to give them away. She used to give scarves to a women's shelter. And she's like, I'm thinking about maybe going to the store and just standing out front. and then she's complaining about this potluck thing. And I'm like, Mom, you are still giving gifts. You have talents given to you by God, and you're using them for other people. It's just shifted in how you are able to do that. She wasn't seeing the blessings that she was still able to provide. And even if she became completely crippled and all she could do is give advice, she still has a role to play. Because all her years of life, she's got a lot of advice. So when sometimes I need advice, she's one of the people I call. And I was a member of the assembly. I'm no longer a member of the assembly. I resigned. I don't care what anybody has put out there about so-called assembly removing me by a so-called grand jury. That's bunk. I resigned. And I had personal reasons for that. But I learned a lot while I was there. I learned a lot. And I keep coming back to Moses, the story of Moses. He had 40 years in Egypt, and then he was 40 years a shepherd in the wilderness. God came to him and said, I have a job for you. And he basically said to God a number of excuses. I'm not made for this. I'm not a leader. I'm not a speaker. I don't know how to do this. And I'm like, Moses, God gave you 80 years of training how to lead sheep in the wilderness out of a place that you know really well. And he said, on top of that, I'll give you your brother Aaron. I'll tell you what you need to do and say, and he will be your voice, and that way you'll be more comfortable. He rose up to the level of where Moses needed him. And everybody has training in life. We don't always know where those past experiences are going to come in handy. My college experience and all my other jobs that I've done in life, from time to time, I go, oh, well, I learned that. I tell you what I learned from the assembly experience the most is about due process and freedom of speech. These are really foundation principles that America is built on, and if we don't uphold those, if you want to talk America, and this is a lower level than God's country, God's kingdom, we're talking on a earthly level, those are really important to us as Americans. If you haven't experienced those being tested, you won't value them as much. And I saw it being tested within an organization that's supposed to be explaining and showing people all of these things. And it wasn't always, because, again, we haven't had that training in life yet. Just because you join an organization that talks that talk doesn't mean they have the experience behind them to walk it. You have to learn it through practice. I learned it through practice, and that experience leads into whatever is in my future. I don't know all of the things, but those life experiences that Donna has, man, every time you talk and I learn something more about your past history, then I'm like, well,
let me drop a bomb. Let me drop a bomb out here on a couple things then, because I feel like God's leading me to do it right now. Okay. I'm going to drop a bomb out here. I'm going to say these organizations that you're talking about, most of them are funded. Guess who funds Hillsdale College? The DeVosses. Guess who funds most of these things that people believe that are good? Is it Soros? Some of them, but they're also being funded by the people that we were all taught to believe in, who are in with the global structure. They're just good at hiding it because they're all working together. But I'm going to drop a bomb here because we're talking about how we feel and the things that we learn and how they prepare us in life. There's some things, but like you said, I don't throw everything out there, but they're all tools to me that things that have happened. I lost a baby. I had a son that was diagnosed with cancer. Didn't know if he was going to live or die for 3 months. And that was rough, because it was like walking in and having the doctor look at me. We went in for something else and come out and say, I don't know how to tell you this, but your son has cancer and we've got to get him in like now. And I mean, I sat there, and you want to talk about everything in your what you thought, the surprise of your life, and not a good one. And to deal with it. And I'm going to tell you what, people started praying for us. And I remember going in, because he had to have a CAT scan. He had to have a whole bunch of other things to prepare him for surgery the next day. It was that quick.
Wow.
And it was traumatic, I'll tell you that. But I learned a lot through that. This is years ago. And I can tell you, as soon as people started praying for us, I felt it. I felt the prayers. And it was like everyone was carrying us through this situation. It was incredible. It was incredible. And I remember on the way over there to the CAT scan, I looked at my son and I said, people are praying for us. Can you feel it? And he said, yes, I can. And we went there, and sometime I'll tell the full story of it. But you want to talk about the miracle of God. I'll remember we found out on Christmas Eve that it hadn't spread to his lungs and his chest. And it was, you want to talk about a celebration. It was amazing. And he opted for no treatment. And so he looked up at me after surgery and he's like, I'm done with it. It's done. And he has now been cancer-free for a number of years, which was crazy. But here's the bomb that I'm going to drop out there. And why I was so, if you want to not talk about being insulted during a political run, it was Tudor Dixon. I think is probably one of the weakest, most pathetic human beings I've ever seen in my life. And the reason being is that years ago, I had a cancer diagnosis. And she kept throwing this out there in a virtue signaling way to make people feel sorry for her to gain votes. Her dad died during this. So did mine. My dad died during my political run. And my dad would have looked at me and said, you just keep going, because he and I were wired exactly the same. Don't skip a beat. He was a leader and he was brave. And I didn't skip a beat. I was with my dad the day he died, and everybody around me was trying to make, be kind and gentle. And that was very beautiful to me and such. But I'm not geared that way. I'm not going to lay down and feel sorry for myself in a bad situation, because I've had a lifetime of bad situations. And you don't stop. When something bad happens, you say, yes, God told us that was what it was going to be like here. There's always going to be problems. That's what this life is about. He's training us.
Yes.
You could get rid of them in a snap, but he's giving you more problems so you are able to deal with more problems, so that you can actually be an adult and handle problems, which is what's happening right now in the political field. People are still acting like children. They want to follow someone all the time, and they're not willing to step out and in their own right as an adult and say, this is fucked up. I'm not going down that thing. And one of the, this is funny about last night when I was talking to that guy that was, saying, we're talking about the dog. And I said to him, your dog may not piss on the floor, because he wasn't getting it. And he's like, oh, the word you use. And he was like that. I said, I identify as an adult, and I'm going to say any damn thing I want to say, and you're going to have to deal with it. And everybody sitting there was kind of like, okay. I'm like, I am an adult. I am not a child. And I deal with things very differently because of that. I don't melt down. And we were talking this morning, Karen, about the emotional quotient. When I got diagnosed with cancer, I can tell you what, I never felt sorry for myself 1 minute. I never skipped a beat. It was kind of like, okay, well, clearly this is what God wanted to have happen. Let's figure out what happens. Came home and it was like, well, let's see, how am I going to fix this? I went right into fix it mode. I didn't sit there and pity me and, oh no, whatever is going to happen to me. I'm going to die. I didn't go into that mindset. We just lost Karen. I bet she ran out of battery.
Yeah, it could be.
She'll be back. She was out in her garden. Oh, there you are. And you're back. Did you run out of battery?
No, I don't know what happened. I'm doing fine. Just sitting here pruning my flowers. It's been a few days.
Well,
I
didn't feel sorry for myself. Not for 1 minute. I'm like, what changed between today and yesterday? Nothing. I just knew the truth of what was already there. This is where we are in the political field. If we know that everyone out there is dead, it's possible. We don't know if President Trump's alive or not. It's possible. We don't know, I'm assuming that Biden's already dead. It's possible. He's been dead for a very long time. I believe that Whitmer's been gone for a very long time. I've seen so many different incarnations of Whitmer. It's not even funny. They could all be dead. We don't know. I think that they won this before they ever started waking us up to this.
Right.
I think
there you go.
Are already gone. If you really want to know the truth, but what difference does one day make? We're just finding out what was the truth. And that's okay. I don't know about you, but I would rather have the truth. I would rather sit there in the doctor's office and say, well, you got cancer.
Here's the difference, though. It's like Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth. And I think that's what we're experiencing. I think if we knew the truth, we would, like, how to handle disasters in life better than anybody I know. Because you've been through enough disasters that they've steeled you against that.
A lot of them. And a lot of them. I don't even talk about them because there's so many disasters I've been through that it's like,
here's
okay.
The thing, Donna, I haven't lost many people close to me. Maybe like one person that I've really grieved over in life. I've grieved over more pets than I have people. I haven't had that experience in life. So I'll be sensitive to it. If my husband dies before me, that's going to be a hard day. He had that happen in his life. He lost a wife by a tragic accident. He felt the peace that surpasses all understanding on that day, and it has carried him through, and it has helped him with other people. And that's where you are. But for most people in our nation, if they knew the truth about whatever the truth is, I just believe this, I don't know what the truth is. I believe that they would just fall to pieces because they can't handle it. And I think some of what we're experiencing is taking people one by one through some hardships and some learning experiences so that when the truth gets to them, they won't fall to pieces. And that I find encouraging. It's like you and I have seen enough about human trafficking to know what has happened to some of the children of the world. And
cases cut off. I mean, I've seen it all, and I know you have
handle that. There are people that could never handle that unless they went through some other very big things. Like, could it be possible that what if we all found out that Biden had not been alive for some time? Well, then that changes everything. That's like pulling the rug out from under people. Their reality is going to shift. And if they can get through something like that, then when it comes to something like children or the earth is flat or Kennedy is a small thing, what happened to JFK? Like, those stories are just little things compared to the big things that we have yet to learn. And if that's the case, we have to experience some of these little conspiracy theory stories and figure them out one at a time and grow as a people. I think that's what we're experiencing. So you and I can be like, well, Trump is probably dead. What are you going to do about it? And other people, that would just destroy their everything. So if we can if we can kind of take people bit by bit, then as a world, we can hopefully emotionally get through the thing. That Donna would be the one person that'd be like, you guys, it's not that big a deal.
Well, here,
My problem with it, though, is that in the meantime, while they're slow walking everybody to this, things are disintegrating. And to a certain extent, I would rather have them just basically slam the truth on everybody.
I would too.
Because the gradual lying is, in my opinion, not a whole lot of an improvement over, the gradual reduction in lying is still lying to people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a problem. So going back to, let's see, I got distracted. I gotta have somebody go into a building here to, in fact, fix the floors, the wood floors that had been pissed on by somebody's animal who refused to take care of them, and that's a problem. So anyhow, I digress, though. I'm going to go back to this thing with Tudor Dixon and everybody else who uses cancer as a way to get in office. I think you should have your tail kicked. I think it's despicable. It's manipulative as hell. And I have so no respect for anybody that does that. It's incredible. What a manipulative, nasty, taking something that has affected so many people's lives and using it to try to get in office. If you are going to run for a political office, it's a job. Do you ever go to a job interview and go, I got cancer, you should hire me and feel sorry for me? No. You look at that and you go, what's the job? What are you qualified for? You're there to do a job. And that's it.
And honestly, too, that plays into a problem. Disgusting. That plays into a problem and really exacerbates a problem that I see with cancer, too, because
they don't want to cure it.
I had cancer years ago as well, and I've been free of it for quite a while. But cancer, if you're diagnosed with cancer, it is way harder on the people around you than it is on you.
Oh, I've had discussions. My friend Karen, other Karen, died a few years ago with cancer, and we used to go out and around. In fact, we would pull my President Trump billboard that we created and go talk about it. And you can talk when you have cancer. You can talk with other people that have cancer much easier than people that have never had it.
Yeah, because it's so much. Once you have it and you've kind of
dealt with it,
yeah. The people around you have not dealt with it. They don't have the context to even really be able to deal with it. So they feel bad for you and it makes them feel bad, but it's way, way harder on them than it is on you. So if you have a family member with cancer, it is going to be harder on, it's going to be much harder on you than the person that's actually got cancer.
Oh my God!
By
Karen
using that as a leverage thing like that, it plays into that same kind of pity sympathy that people have for cancer patients, and exacerbates the problem of not really. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. It exacerbates the problem of making that even harder on the people around cancer patients.
It's very difficult. Karen and I used to talk about it all the time. She's like, she's like, it's so hard for me to talk to my family members because they are absolutely losing it, and it made it harder for her. And you'll talk to people that have it, and almost everybody says the same thing. It's very, very difficult because people are projecting how they think they would feel if they had it without ever having it. And then not only that, they're dealing with the potential loss of the people around them. I didn't even tell anybody except for my immediate family for a year and a half. I remember when I told my mom and dad, I thought my dad was going to absolutely pass out. He was so heartbroken. And I'm like, and I just looked at it. I said, "Don't worry, I'm too ornery to die, and I've got this. Don't worry about it." And I said, "But I just wanted you to know so that you didn't hear about it from somebody else." But it's not what people think it is. The cancer industry does not want to cure anyone.
Absolutely
There
not.
is no
You see
part
that
of that.
so clearly when you've had cancer.
Yes.
It's like I would never donate to any of the cancer causes that are out there.
Not for 1 minute. But I wouldn't
is
donate
making
to
the
anything.
problem
Red Cross.
worse.
Now, Red Cross, they're trafficking freaking money and kids. We already know that.
It is making the problem worse by having such an industry around not curing it.
Same thing with political parties. Not a chance would I donate to the political parties. Not for any reason whatsoever. They don't need your money. They're getting it from the oligarchs that are sitting right here in Michigan. All you got to do is look at how they move money around. They're trying to disable people and make you feel sorry, maybe make you feel like you're the only way that they can get this done. You've got to donate. You've got to help them. They got all the money in the world. You're laughing at people when they say that, because their money's coming from all of these PACs that are being funded by BlackRock and all of this, and they're laughing as you're donating to them. Don't donate a penny to them. This system needs to be broken. And this is the other thing, is that this is a hard thing for people to say. We can't continue on the way that we're going. And I pray to God every day that this system falls flat and flat lines. And I hope it's God himself that takes it down. This system is so broken. We can't even build on what's there, because there's so many evil people that have had their hand in the cookie jar, that they don't even know how to survive without it. What happens if you do the cuts that need to be made, which Donna Brandenburg would actually have the guts to make, and you get down to the way that it's supposed to work? Well, you got 30% of the people that are on government payroll. They produce nothing. All they do is tell us what to do. And they make deals between themselves. Why do you think they got so much money in their bank accounts? It's like they produce nothing. And the documentation, it produces nothing. All the regulations produce nothing. They're a drain on actual people that do something. The colleges right now, do they produce something? Yeah, they produce little drone bees if it was a hive, that really produce nothing, but they eat off what the other worker bees bring in. And they produce nothing. And I've spent a lot of years in college, so I'm not criticizing anything that I haven't already been through.
You want to see how valuable college is nowadays? Look at the syllabus for people getting a degree in a field that you already have expertise in.
I told my kids not to go. It's
pathetic. I've seen some of the recent computer science graduates of different colleges around, showing the classes that they have, just even the class schedule for which classes they're taking for a degree. It's horrific. I mean, like, from a professional standpoint, the stuff that they used to teach in like the first semester of computer science classes and maybe in the 80s is now stuff that computer science kids now are not even encountering until maybe the end of the third year or the beginning of the fourth year of a 4-year degree. And that would have been first semester, maybe second semester, base level classes back in the 80s. It's really kind of amazing how much that has degraded. And I guess I would say, just, for anyone out there that has any expertise in anything, go look up a modern syllabus. There's really no need for any horror movies. Just go look at that.
Yeah, there's so much. And, for coping, I mean, let's talk about coping here as a mom. Okay. Like, I always joke. I said that to Mike Flynn Jr. one time. I said, you guys kind of got off easy in a way. God appointed me God to the whole damn world. He goes,
God appointed you what?
mom to the whole damn world. He goes, that should go on a t-shirt. But, and I guess the reason being is because I really do care about people. I very much do. And I think a lot of people think that I'm, hard on things. Well, my dad was a tough dad. I'm not going to lie. He was a really tough dad, but he helped me learn the things that I needed to learn to not be coddled. He didn't coddle me. And, and honestly, a parent that doesn't coddle their children is the kindest, strongest, most loving parent, because this world sucks. And it sucked since the fall. You have to be able to be smart enough to navigate it, not take it personally. When you see somebody do something stupid, let them own it. It's them. It has nothing to do with you. If they call you something bad, I mean, look at, run for governor. They're going to call you every word on the planet. And some of them I won't be able to even say online here. I won't. I mean, I suppose I could, because I'm the only one that can censor here, right? But, just out of respect, because you never know if there's kids out there watching and such, but or people that are just not willing to hear the truth, but it's all about, if you have children, is it to put them into everything where everybody says, oh, you're the greatest thing in the whole wide world? Are they going to get that out in the world? Or if they don't have enough people propping them up, are they going to fail, drop into drugs, try to get into anything that makes them be able to cope with it? Or are they going to be able to get out there and stand when somebody comes at them in a way that is non-ideal? That's why when you look at how God created the world, you've got big oak trees. Big oak trees drop acorns under the oak tree so that little oak trees can grow up and learn to be strong under the protection of the big oak trees, because they're not capable of being able to withstand the big winds, the deer that might come out and eat them, where the big oak tree will continue to drop acorns, and honestly, it's a decoy to the deer. The deer will eat the acorns, and they won't just eat the trees coming up. I mean, there's all kinds of things when you look at things like that on why the world is created that way, why God gave us instructions. The instruction manual is the Bible. Pick it up, read it. And why we're not supposed to do things that way is because he loves us. He's a good father. I think that the original President Trump, whatever's there now, I've been to Mar-a-Lago 3 times, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't President Trump that I saw there. And in my way of seeing things, it is not possible. It was not him that I saw there. And it was because he's about 4 inches, maybe more, too short for actual President Trump. I don't believe that I saw him.
Okay. So that's when people wonder how safe if he's not safe at Mar-a-Lago.
Why would they be stupid enough to run the risk of putting him out in public? That would be stupid, right? Yeah.
I would say,
I'm not saying you're stupid, Karen. I'm saying they would be stupid if they put President Trump out there for somebody to shoot at him. When I saw him at Mount Rushmore, I went through the video. I can't even tell you how many times I zoomed in on. I took pictures of things because that's what I do, and looked at this, and I'm like, they only had 3 camera angles there. The lighting was off, and when I zoomed in on President Trump that was on the stage allegedly at Mount Rushmore, not a chance it was him. The guy that was playing him had a great big old nose that was way bigger than President Trump's, and I still have all the screenshots of it. So,
I think probably one of the least convincing ones that I've seen was the version of Trump that was at Grand Rapids here about a week ago. That's one of the least convincing ones I've seen in a long time.
I didn't see it, so because I was trying to warn people that he's walking into elite globalist oligarch central here. Michigan's the head of the snake. Make no mistake about that. It's not DC. They're going to have you looking anywhere but where the people actually are that are pulling the strings. You want to find the puppet masters? It's not in DC. They're going to have you look there to distract you. You want to know where it is? It's sitting right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and in Michigan, because of a number of reasons. They have been able to take over 4.5 million acres of land through the DNR. They've got DK Security, which coincidentally, isn't this convenient, was the security for Van Andel Arena, which is where President Trump was. I was trying to get this to people. I'm like going, guys, if you don't give a crap about whoever's standing on that stage, it's the American people that are coming that believe in him that are in danger of walking into this place. And I'm going to tell you what, I sat there and I was like, how would they do it? They're not looking for poisons there. They're looking for guns. If they were going to do massive damage, it's going to be through fentanyl. It's going to be through a military grade poison. It's going to be through something like that. That's how they took out Andrew Breitbart, was using CIA way to take him out from the 70s. And so all of these people that are there, and I'm not telling anybody to be afraid. That's not it. Stand up, say, look at me. I'm not pulling any punches here, right? That's not it. But if you're walking into enemy territory and they have just taken a shot at him in Butler with the Barney Fife bullshit that was going on out there, what are they going to do here? And how many more people have to die because nobody's getting their heads out of their behind? Look at COVID. Look at what they did. This was our own government killing Americans. If you're not pissed, and I identify as saying whatever the hell I want, sorry if you don't like the word, you should be.
Well, on the note of fentanyl attacks, I was at Walgreens the other day, and I saw they finally have Narcan on the shelves. So previously you had to get a prescription from the pharmacist, and you didn't have to get a prescription from the doctor. You had to get a prescription written by the pharmacist and get it prescribed to you.
No.
They have it just on the shelves now.
No,
and I think that's a great thing for people to just basically keep some of that around in a first aid kit.
Yeah, it used to be sitting on the counter. You just ask for it. And the last time I looked, it was like $40 you could get it from the pharmacy without a prescription.
So somebody just came out and said, what are the pros and cons of Axe My Tax? I've talked about this ad nauseum, and finally they got a little bit quieter. Axe My Tax is getting rid of property tax for dummies. Okay, that's what's happening here. They want to throw it out there because property tax is, in fact, unconstitutional.
That's not even getting rid of property tax. It's reallocating property tax.
Them away from local, the whole con, and I'm going to call it a con. Axe My Tax is a con. And Axe My Tax is going to take the taxes away from that you think you're paying into local municipalities and give it up to state control. They're just going to shift it. They're not talking about the real problem there. They're throwing out their clickbait for all y'all that says that property taxes should be eliminated. Yes, they should, but they don't have a plan. They're just throwing out clickbait. Click it.
Well, the problem there is that
doing nothing.
They're not cutting any of the expenses to compensate for that. And so if you even think of this from just a logical input and output stance here of the money goes into the government, money comes out of the government in the form of expenses, right? Well, if they're not cutting the expenses, then where's the money going in? It's still going in. It's just now going in at a higher level, so it's not subject to local control.
Yeah, and look at what they do every time they say they're going to do, that the government's going to shut down. Do they stop the money flow to Ukraine? No, they shut down the park system, which is, can people feel that loss? Well, why didn't they go after any real things to be cut? Because they don't want to. They're using it as extortion. It's extortion against. Yeah, well, I can tell you, Astro Turf 65 said, I haven't gotten an answer from, because you won't get an answer from the taxpayer party. Bill was on one day and we were talking about it. He asked for 6 months after Carla Wagner showed up with her spectacular line of bullshit, which we called out, and had had called her out then and there. And that's the truth. And so Bill asked for 6 months to get an explanation, never reached back, because there is no explanation for what they're doing. There's nothing. It's a headline. They didn't even have the language filed or the original filing done correctly. Why is it after the deadline for signatures? Why is it that they were still collecting signatures? Keep you all busy. They're just keeping you busy on crazy stuff.
Yeah,
so that you're not doing anything that's moving the line. You want to move the line? Let's move the line. There's
property
ways
tax
to move
needs
the
to
line.
property tax needs to go, but not at the expense of just increasing other taxes to compensate.
Right.
If you're just increasing another illegal tax on people to compensate for getting rid of a trendy illegal tax, it doesn't. You're not moving the line any. You're not moving things forward. You're just shifting where the line is.
Yeah. Oh, this is the new in thing. We're going to go after property tax together because that's a good. No, you're not. You're just going to shift the taxes. Still not. The only thing that's going to really change this around, besides flat lining it and having if the communications go down, the electrical grid goes down, that's going to just absolutely kill the deep state, because they don't produce anything. Remember, these people are idiots. They're not smart. They've never produced anything. They can't fix anything because they don't know anything. All they know is how to cheat and steal and lie and move things around. That's the truth. So if they blew a tire out on the highway, they're going to be waiting around for somebody with a pickup truck, probably a diesel pickup truck with either cowboy boots or work boots on, to bail their sorry butts out, because they don't do anything, And so it's absolutely. I'm reading some of the comments in the chat right now, honestly, but it's absolutely ridiculous, all of this stuff. The only thing that can truly right this is the governor's office. The governor's office in the state of Michigan would have righted this. Had I gotten in, I would have said,
you have not conceded
start timing me. What? And we would have had this thing resolved, because I don't want anything. I want to be able to just I've got my stupid little projects I like to do. I like to live. I like to be with the people that I hang out with. I like to feed people. I like to build things. I have no interest whatsoever in a political career. Zip. It's like, I want to fix things and I want to go home, and that's it. And then somebody else pick up the thing. If people think that President Trump is going to be the save this nation, okay. What happens if he dies? What's next? Who steps in? Are you willing to step in? How are we going to do this if we don't get away from this celebrity status of savior? I don't even know. I don't know what to say to help anybody on this. Who's going to come
Roman
next?
Empire reference. We need Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would be like Cincinnatus. That's what I would be like. Move in, fly in, make the cuts, go home. Make sure that the structure is such that we can have a professional management structure for the assets of the people who are actually working in this state. And it would have started out with absolutely pausing all taxes, dead stop to everything, and a complete because I know that there's money there, and enough to go into a humanitarian effort. You stop the bleed in the state of Michigan, you've got all kinds of money sitting there that could actually be used to help the people. And in the process, go through an incredible audit. I actually had the auditor picked out that was honest, that is a boss level auditor that could have gone down there and chased every dime down, not just in the state, every department, every municipality. We would have gone through this thing with a fine tooth comb, that the people that are sitting there that have been wasting your money would have thought that the gates of hell would have dropped down on them.
I'm going to have to correct you, Donna.
What's that?
I'm going to have to correct you, because the verb tense that you're using is a little off.
Okay, the gates of heaven would have dropped down on them.
No, that's not where I'm going. I'm just saying, you will. You have not conceded your race and you're still fighting for it, right?
True, I will.
So I'm going to say you can still have a chance to do this and you will do these things, not you would have done.
I would have done, but I will do them. And I thank you for the correction on that. I really do, because my plan is to make them wish that Donna Brandenburg was never born, because the pain would be so great on these criminals that are in there that there would be nowhere to run, and prosecute all of them. I would start stripping people of their citizenship. That would be the first thing, is that anyone who committed treason, before you even get to the tribunals, before you even do that, and you can see what they participated in. I think that grand juries need to be involved in this. There's a legal process, okay? There is a legal process that has to be followed, but the judicial system is completely a train wreck. It's a dumpster's fire. You can't get it because they're all paid to play, pay to play judges. And they were placed, and the mayors have been placed. A lot of them. There was 175 of them that were targeted across the United States to install mayors that were part of this progressive agenda, which is nothing more than infiltration of globalists, And somebody said Whitmer is drunk with power. Yeah, well, Whitmer is a complete and utter loser that was tied into the insurance companies. And so when you look at the backgrounds, and nobody is looking into the backgrounds, the Democrats think that, oh, she's wonderful. Really? Have you looked at the big business, and I mean corporate business, that backed her? It's a lie. She's not what you think she is. Their backgrounds tell everything you need to know about them. Like you might want to start with her dad, who is in charge of Blue Cross Blue Shield in Michigan, which was a beneficiary trust, which means the people of the state of Michigan actually owned it. Who ruined that? It was Whitmer's dad. And then he passes it on to Dan Lope. Dan Lope was behind getting Whitmer in office. The insurance agencies, the insurance industry backed Whitmer. And they stole that from the people of Michigan. And Dan Lope got a big payoff. Oh, what year was it? Oh, yeah, the year after Whitmer got put in place. And this whole thing kind of works together as one big crime syndicate.
Oh, I'm so looking forward, because I stand by. I act as if it's going to happen because I want it to happen. I want to see Whitmer going for either VP or president. I know she was the co-chair of the Biden-Harris campaign. I did not see her say, I'm endorsing Harris, I'm sticking with the Harris campaign, when I saw some journalists in a video clip catch her and ask her. She says, I know you guys have to ask this question. You're just doing your job and you're asking me over and over and over. I'm not leaving Michigan. She had to pause. There was an awkward pause, and she very carefully did not state, I fully endorse Kamala, or I'm not running. She said, I'm not leaving Michigan, but I think she leaves the door open with that, because Biden said, I'm not leaving, and guess what? And then we get this statement. Harris says, oh, I'm all behind Biden, but she's got this thing from May that you pointed out earlier. She's not 100% behind Biden. I think that Whitmer's going to go for it. And I would love to see the whole country look at Whitmer's track record and the things that you just brought out. Yes, let's trot her out in front of the whole country. Because
I would love to debate that. I would love to get her on stage and give her the debate beating of her life.
Let's see her and Newsom and Harris and anybody else. So, they keep saying Harris, or not Harris, Newsom or Whitmer. Well, they both have similar track records, but a lot of people around the country aren't very familiar with them. They just heard kidnapping plot or nursing homes, but they don't know a whole lot about them. Let's show them the whole thing. and let them see. That's to me, that's a tool in the awakening. And but I don't know. I can't say that's what's going to happen. And again, this is all part of the show to me, because I agree with you. I don't think we've seen the real Whitmer for a time, and that makes me wonder why, who's really in charge. How can we see so many fake people? I don't know. But what I do see, and this is what I wanted to hit before the end of the show, everything that I'm seeing, and I'm seeing what I've called an acceleration. It used to be like every few weeks we would see a news story or two that seemed to come bam, bam, bam. And it would be like, wow, that's a little, it's like somebody's going from 55 to 60 to pass somebody, but they're not going 70 yet. This last week we hit 85. And I think it's almost like, and I've called it awakening for dummies. I feel like the whole nation, normies and everybody, have got so much thrown at them, they have to ask questions, whether they would have previously or not, whether they've paid much attention to the conspiracy theories or not. Now, everybody's starting to open their mind to possibilities beyond those which make sense to them. And it's also things that are moving us in a positive direction, because what is happening? Trump and Melania, initially after the shooting event, were talking about unity. And you could see the country starting to unify behind Trump more and more and more. It's not about Trump, and never was. It was always about getting people together. And the more you have people acting in a kind, compassionate, peaceful, patriotic way, it's not even about patriotism, I don't think, really. Can you get enough people on board so that when tragedy strikes or something drastic happens that changes how we see everything around us, we know that we've got it because we have each other?
And your point is great. Go ahead, Ralph.
I would say too that, a lot of you bring up the concept of patriotism, and I tend to think that a lot of the way that people treat patriotism isn't true patriotism anymore. It's just pure idolatry of some of these people, individual people that they're looking at as a savior. They're not looking at it as us all as a country working together to fix this.
Yes.
Yep.
In a quiet manner, just fixing things and not building these huge structures for money to be laundered through. This is a big problem. I saw when I was at the RNC. You want to know overall what I saw? I saw idolatry, and and instead of a logical, non-emotional process. And whenever that appears, it's always something to mislead people. And first of all, it leads them away from God, because they're willing to accept anything, which look at JD Vance. Okay. They're willing to accept anything if idolatry steps in. We need to focus in on who can do the job. I mean, I would vote for anybody that wasn't in the system at this point in time. And I think at this point in time, we're going to vote them all out. Vote out everybody. That's in there. Now, with that said, I will be voting for President Trump because they deprived him of his rightful office. And I believe in the American system. I believe that the system that was created by the forefathers, it was created for a reason. And we have to stay on the rails. They were correct with the process that they put in place. It was correct. There were some problems there, but we're always going to have problems. You're never going to get away from problems, and you can't always you have to address them, run to the fire and address them, and then remember that this world is God's world. If He wants to change it, He will. And so one step at a time. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Some of us can jump into the fire and it doesn't bother us. And as we were talking earlier, I have a very low reactionary point, or a very, is it low or high? I don't react. I don't react when things go badly and get hysterical in bad situations. I go right into like this, into problem solving mode.
You're like a first responder.
Yeah,
you're a first responder is what you are. That's your personality, and that's your character. That's your training. When Trump was that Trump event, there was a man that was shot. There happened to be a doctor. I think he was an emergency unit doctor. And you could see on his face, he was traumatized, even though he had the skill to do what he had been trained to do. I'm like, people need to pray for that guy, because it might take him a day or two to calm down from the adrenaline and the focus of what I need to do right now and what I need to report to this journalist. And we've all been traumatized.
Yes.
But we have to, it's going to take a little time to get over trauma and then be ready to steel ourselves for the next one. I have a question for you about the RNC, because you were there.
Yes.
I was observing these people, and they're screaming like lunatics, like they're at a Beatles concert. Are they drinking behind the scenes?
I would say yes to some of it, but I will say that the bigger problem was that they were playing to the cameras. So what I saw was, whenever the cameras were walking around, and whenever somebody's in front of a camera, they would start screaming and yelling more.
Okay.
And so it was, it seemed to me to be driven by the cameras in their face. That's what I observed. And, that's kind of what I observed. But I don't think everybody there was a bad person. I think there's some really good people there. I'm not saying that I'm saying the structure of the United States right now has been co-opted. We are in a war right now. They have captured all of our institutions. They've captured and infiltrated. And you can't look at this and say that it's an organism. There's no two ways about it. But I happen to believe that it's a spiritual co-opting, because the similarities are kind of shocking. It's not that they're all being given instructions, though a lot of them are, from an organization. There's a big crime syndicate going on. There really are. But the lack of moral code and compass, discernment, and wisdom to how to fix this appears to be sadly lacking. But we could go into that we can go into that longer, but I really do think that this is a spiritual battle that we're in. I do believe that people, if they don't stay really close to God and they refuse to bend, once you let sin in to your life and you allow it to be there, it's a lot harder to get it out. And once you get it out, it's like anything. You cannot allow any of it to come back in, because the second time it's going to be harder. Because
it's like an addict returning to their addiction.
And demons are real. Demons, angels, God is real. I don't care what anybody says. If they don't see it, I can't really help them. Other than to say, go to God and he'll show it to you. Ask him the hard questions. Ask him, show me exactly what's going on out there. I want to see it, and then wait for the ride to start. But I want to play this video, and I want you to tell me what you see, because I will tell you what I saw in this video.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. Project 2025. I reviewed a lot of it. There's some good ideas in there. We need to help Donald Trump get across the finish line. It's all about getting him elected president. I'm not a Trump supporter. I didn't vote for Trump. I've criticized a lot of Trump's rhetoric, and I'm not a big fan of some of the things that he says. The biggest problem.
Look at the eyes on the one at the right. It's not just that he's lost weight or anything like that. People would say that, but look at the eyes. Look at the hooding or the set of his eyes, and watch how he blinks.
Trump had during his first term, guys, is you had a lot, and I hate to say it, of congressional Republicans who actually refused to support the agenda. They were stabbing me in the back in private. I know Donald Trump.
Look at the eyes.
He cares about this country. He wants to run for president to make it better, not to install himself as some.
Did you see it? Let me run it again.
Make the screen bigger.
2025. I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. Project 2025. I've reviewed a lot of it. There's some good ideas in there. We need to help Donald Trump get across the finish line. It's all about getting him elected president. I'm not a Trump supporter. I didn't vote for Trump. I've criticized a lot of Trump's rhetoric, and I'm not a big fan of some of the things that he says.
Right there, you should have seen it. The one on the left does not rapidly blink. The one on the right has rapid blinking patterns and looks down because the one on the right doesn't believe what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's number one. Body language outed him right there. But not only that, look at the eyes. The eyes, there's something very different about the eyes between the one on the left and the right, as well as the eyes will tell. Now, are we seeing a spiritual thing or what? But just
Trump
look at
had
it.
During his first term,
I'm not
guys,
going to
a lot, and I hate to say
feed
it,
people
of
on
congressional Republicans who actually refused to support the agenda. They were stabbing me in the back in private. I know Donald Trump. He cares about this country. He wants to run for president to make it better, not to install himself as some.
Blink, and then he looks down to the other side. He doesn't even believe what he's saying himself.
Well, threatened, coerced, or otherwise, his voice sounds pretty similar.
Yeah, there's just something different there. But
a lot of times, I would say the voice of people tends to be the giveaway for some of the body doubles. Either their dialect or, there's a lot of things about a voice that are very difficult to disguise. Even with AI voice changing stuff, a lot of that is very easy to disguise. In that case, the clips that they've got there, I tend to think the voice sounds pretty darn similar there.
Well, here's something else. I'm going to throw this up a minute here just so that people can see this. Do you notice that there's a cut line here?
Yep.
I don't even know if that's CGI at this point in time because it's hard to tell. And I haven't done any analysis on it.
I never liked it.
Let's look for cut line.
2025. I've reviewed a lot of it. There's some good ideas in there. We need to help Donald Trump get across the finish line. It's all about getting him elected president. I'm not a Trump supporter. I didn't vote for Trump. I've criticized a lot of Trump's rhetoric, and I'm not a big fan of some of the things that he says. The biggest problem Trump had during his first term, guys, is you had a lot, and I hate to say it, of congressional Republicans who actually refused to support the agenda. They were stabbing me in the back in private. I know Donald Trump. He cares about this country. He wants to run for president to make it better, not to install himself.
There's definitely a cut line right there. Look at.
Mm-hmm.
So is it what are we looking at? Is it CGI? Which it could be, but the blinking is weird. Why? I don't know why they would do that.
It could be a backlight hair light on it to highlight. Because sometimes in a 3-point lighting setup like that, you'd have a hairline in the back.
Well, and I haven't put it through any diagnostics to look at it to see if there's layers there or not. Yeah, there's other people that can do that out there. I'm not doing it while I'm online.
There's a Burning Bright, Just Human did, I think it was them, did a show on the movie called Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. And I've been thinking about it ever since. It was pretty cool because in the first part of the movie, you're trying to figure out what is going on, and you're seeing the same scene over and over where there's a battlefield with a whole bunch of little battles going on. Each character has their own battle that they're fighting. And at some point, the heroine says to the hero, Tom Cruise character, she says, "You got to get us off this beach." And that's what he was pointing out on that particular show, that they realized the only way to win the war is to stop fighting the battles on the little details. You know, how many shooters were they? Who is the kid? Was he MK Ultra? Burning Bright was like, I never, from the moment it happened, did not care about any of those details. The point is, somebody tried to assassinate Trump, and who, why, how did that come about? The bigger questions are where you need to fight the battle. He was pointing out there are thousands of Anons who will dig in and find the details to that story. But if you can, you take that, what I call the 10,000 foot view, and look at it not from within all the little details, the fine things, but look at the greater picture. And this is where that role to play comes in, because there are some people who need to be on that beach. There is someone who needs to be at their county election to view what's going on. Somebody needs to be going over the voter rolls. That is their role to play. Somebody else is running. I got a neighbor that's running for office here locally. And everybody can be fighting those little battles, or they can be looking at a larger view and trying to focus on that, and what do you see, and sharing that. It's okay wherever you are, whatever you want to do, however you want to look at it. But if you're going to get into the details, just be aware that, like we were just pointing out, was that a CGI, or was it just a simple matter of a camera view? Don't get too bogged in with your emotions on vesting an interest in finding out a certain detail about something and then being upset if you find out you were wrong. Because there's a lot of clickbait people out there. I mean, how many fake shooter posts do we have going around? Why do they even put these people out there? Somebody did it to take advantage of other people and to ruin their credibility. So just be careful. You can share something, but say, I'm not sure about this detail. I don't know about the source. There's a ton of that going on with, well, someone close to the Secret Service or someone who used to be a Navy SEAL said this. And then therefore there's, like you said, the military. I am military, so trust me.
Yeah,
if it didn't come from on letterhead from the office or in the congressional hearing, it has even less credibility than it would in the hearing. But still, you know, don't get too bogged down in the details that you forget to look at the big picture of things.
But by the same token, I think it's you talked about some of the like local, like being a poll challenger or watching the voter rolls and that kind of thing. That I think is a lot. That is, if we had everybody that was pushing the needle just a little bit rather than looking to these centralized heroes to save them, if everybody just got out there and pushed the needle forward just a little bit, that is as much as you need to do, really. It's just everybody needs to do it.
Yeah, hey, I got a hold of David. Hey, David, how you doing?
Hello, how you guys doing?
Good. I almost called you this morning, but I didn't want to shock you into life. But I called Karen and Ralph because both John and Courtney had to cancel today, and we're talking about things. Somebody said, "I don't know, are they clones?" Well, I'm going to tell you something. I saw something years ago, and I think this is really funny because both DeSantis and Pompeo all of a sudden show up 60 pounds lighter, and I'm like, I ain't buying this, guys. I'm sorry, but DeSantis #2 was definitely easier on the eyes than DeSantis #1. I'm going to say that, okay? But
those nice pictures you were showing.
I was showing pictures. Let me throw this up here.
The weight loss going on.
Yeah, there's I'm not believing this crap. They both lost 60 pounds in a day, but look at the face structure, and I think that we can compare things to, first, let's see. We'll see. DeSantis #1 looked like a freaking basset hound. And, oh no, what did Donna say? And then all of a sudden we have this guy that shows up. I'm like, I don't know who he was. And then they replaced him with that guy. If you put them side by side and you start doing facial evaluations, you'll see that they switched somebody out there. Not the same guy.
Yeah.
Not the same guy, not remotely the same guy. Does this change anything for me? No. We got what we got. Just finding out that somebody isn't who they said they are. It's just like, we're just learning. It's like, but I didn't buy that from day one. You have, okay, this is number 2. Okay. This is number 3. The eyes change, the nose change. He's got like a smaller nose. Number 3 has a bigger nose. Number 1 had a very larger nose. And
we were talking earlier about this, and it was like, so we've just accepted it, which is kind of strange looking back now. Like, we're like, well, I talk about Trump as if it's Trump that was there at the shooting. I don't think that was the real Trump that got shot. I think somebody got shot, but I don't know how this works. But I've just been going along with the show and just acknowledging that I think it's a show.
I do too.
But what if we as a people, and I think the day is coming where as a people, we're like, wait a minute. This is a show.
Well, look at this one. We've got military DeSantis there, and then we've got the one with this got a smaller nose that's much better looking than the first guy that played it, if that's the case. And then we got this guy that shows up, and I mean, you can't look at this without doing some questioning. And I'm sorry, but DeSantis and the full structure of the face changes when you really look at it. But man, hold the thumb up, and nobody believes.
Did you see that Cheadle just resigned?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
I love those last names, Crook and Cheat.
Right. It's like, are we getting this figured out yet? That this is like a cast and characters. I thought the same thing. It's like crooks and cheat and all of it. It's like, it was just like at the RNC when they had all of these, half of the people had their heads right on top of a pyramid, and it was a salute to the New World Order. I'm like, come on, people, catch up with us a little bit here. They're telling us you're watching a movie.
It's awakening for dummies.
What?
It's awakening for dummies. Like, how much more can you? Okay, guys, come on, figure it out.
Going right to the Three Stooges, the office of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Let's see. Let's look at the Trump doubles.
There was one that went to Ohio too that was different than we see at like rallies or debates or other types of events. The one that went to Ohio was different. Wasn't golfer Trump, and it wasn't thumbs up Trump, and it wasn't rally Trump.
Yeah.
This is so funny.
And I think that it's kind of sad that we have all this, like, I have this cast of characters for Trump, and it doesn't seem to bother me that much. Like, what is wrong with us?
Yeah, well, the other thing is that they're all going to have doubles. They've done this for years because, I knew a pilot that said when we were in a small airport, and I knew a pilot said, "Oh yeah," he said I watched Bush Senior go in one time, and he said, Bush Senior and his double passed in the doorway of the bathroom. And he said it was kind of funny. He said, so you could see one going in and one coming out. So this has been going on for a very long time. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I mean, it's come on, guys.
I just shared one in a comment to one of your posts yesterday with the Zelensky.
I hope President Trump is okay. I love that. I love that man. Yeah, there's a couple of them. I love that man, and I hope it's a double to keep him safe. That's what I'm hoping for. I love President Trump, and I would think they were stupid if they didn't use doubles. If you really want to know the truth, it's like that would be insanity. Put them out there and let everybody, out in the public.
Something just says if they didn't use doubles, they would have tried to kill him many, many times at those rallies. They must have got word that this was
the real. Yeah, you bet they would have. They would have taken him out a long time ago.
We're in Act 4.
Here's one that I'll see. Okay, this one you can see it in the jaw line. Okay, so check out the jaw of this guy.
Yeah,
and the
much
noses
more.
are different, even, you know. And the new one that they've got out there is how come he de-ages? That's what I want to know. How come he keeps getting younger?
Well, it's AI, and they can do it almost live. Tori said that, you know how they have this delay on the news broadcast, like when they're interviewing somebody, there's always this, 5-second delay or 3-second delay. That is not so they can, shut it off if somebody says the wrong thing. That is so that they can actively AI change things live, almost live on TV.
Well, and how is it that his accent keeps drifting from being a New England accent into picking up aspects of Great Plains accents?
Yeah, Ralph, you're right. It's like I've noticed that, just the huge differences in his accent, which is probably something that AI has a real difficult time doing.
How do you get rid of that much skin on a face? With you know what I mean? It's like this guy is definitely younger, and you
it almost looks airbrushed.
Yeah, it's just, so there's just some manipulation. We just got to ask some questions here, because there's a lot that we just don't. What happened with this picture here? Now we got to have mugshot Trump. There's mugshot Trump.
I think
Pompeo's the best example of such a radical change. Nobody talks about it though.
I met him. Yeah, I do. I met him last week, and when I saw, let's see if I can. I'll do a search on this and see what I come up with. But
is he a big guy?
I've got a picture with him. So I question everything.
Donna, you get your picture taken with all these celebrities because we know what your height is.
Yeah, because I am a very large person. It's like Karen. Okay, so here's Mike Pompeo. All right. How in the heck does this guy lose 60 pounds overnight?
Yeah, how did it happened really quick.
It was quick. The same day that DeSantis lost the weight too.
Oh, there's a before and after.
Yeah, here, look at this. I don't know what to think about that. Nice guy. Met his wife and such, but 60 pounds overnight and he looks like this now.
So here's a question. Is Jill? I suspect that she's actually... I suspect that she's actually her, because I've watched her face. Well, I remember, several years ago, there was a Super Bowl event. Nobody talks about this but me. I've never seen anybody else talking about it anywhere. They did a commercial, Biden and Jill sitting together talking about the Super Bowl, whatever. And it was pre-recorded. I think, I know. The weirdest thing about it was, it stood out to me that his face was squashed and like twisted, like your TV when you have it at 16:9 ratio when your TV is square, something like that. It was like twisted, and the skin color was different. There was a guy sitting next to Jill, but the head on the guy was, you remember you were talking about the trim earlier. You could see a defined trim line where they plugged in this fake Joe face on some guy's shoulder. And I had so many questions, like, why would they could have done this in advance with, if they could prop up the real Joe, they could drug him off and put him there and let him do a 30-second blurb, even sit next to Jill and he doesn't say anything at all. Instead, they got a fake guy sitting next to Jill, and her face looked so off. Like, she is not happy. She cannot smile. And I felt sorry for her on that day because I thought this poor woman knows the truth and there's nothing she can do about it. And at that point in time, I considered maybe the real Joe was being tortured in order to make him have these dementia symptoms. I kind of wondered if there was something like that going on because of what I was seeing. It didn't make any sense. So that's that outside the box thinking I keep talking about.
So I got to go back to the Melania pictures I put up. I love Melania. I want to grow up to be like Melania. That's what I see. I actually kept a file on her outfits that she wore because I think she is just in of all the cast and characters of everyone that's out there. I love Melania Trump. I think she's totally amazing. And I don't know about all you girls out there that are real women. I am so proud every time I see her carrying herself and talking to people. I think she's just extraordinary, and what a great example for women all over the place out there. I mean, she's proud to be a mom. She's proud to take care of her family. She's not, she's amazing. I love this woman. I like the way she dresses. I like everything about her.
Definitely not easy to body double.
No, there have been a couple of them that I spotted. I was looking for the body double ones because I've got one that showed a body double on her, and I was like, oh, that's not Melania Trump. Melania actually has a sincere smile. She doesn't have a fake smile. And the body double that I saw on her, it was a fake smile. It was fake Melania, because Melania has a sincere, she has a sincere smile. I mean, here we go. Look at this smile. She's got like the greatest smile in the whole world. It's like this one right down here. Look at her smile. She's gorgeous and she's sincere. I mean, she's beautiful. And I even look at this. Look at the White House pictures. This is great. I mean, you could put Melania on every single Christmas card and it would be the best card ever. Look at what a cool outfit. She's with horses. That makes it even better.
She's like royalty.
Someday. I know. Someday I'm going to get to meet Melania because I asked God, I want to meet Melania Trump. She's amazing. And we'll see. I'll see if I can find the one that I picked out a while back that was a fake Melania because she didn't have a real smile. She's got an endearing, beautiful, for real smile. She's like an angel. Nope, can't find the body double. I can't even see it. I'm like Googling it right now, and I'm not seeing the fake one. But every once in a while, you'll see one pop up, and it's like, I'm glad. I hope they keep her and him safe. It's like however they need to do it, keep them safe. We love them, and anybody that stepped up into this arena. The fake Trumps that are out there, not the real President Trump, the rightful president of the United States, but even the fake Trumps, the body doubles, or whatever you want to call them, that are out there. I have a lot of admiration for people that step into that role, because they literally are stepping in to take a bullet, and they know it. I mean, that's the most dangerous job on the whole planet, is to step in to protect President Trump, Melania, their family. That's an incredible bravery.
Yep. So on the subject of spotting those and the accents,
I'll be right back.
There's a channel on YouTube that I would highly recommend for just I guess kind of intro to linguistic analysis of English. It's a guy that's named Dr. Jeff Lindsay, and he does little bite-sized presentations sort of on different aspects of English. So like vocal fry or tea dropping or that kind of thing. And if you want to just a real quick method of being able to spot some of the discrepancies in the way people sound, that's a real good place to start, because you can learn in a very quick amount of time a lot about people's pronunciation. And as difficult as it is for AI to duplicate that, it's just as difficult for humans to duplicate accent and dialect when trying to imitate someone else.
Yeah.
Did you put that in the private chat?
Yeah, I put a couple of them.
Which resend it to me so that I can put the one out there for voices, because that's really interesting to study dialects and voices and such.
Yeah, so the vocal fry one was real
study
good.
These things, guys, because then you can point out the fakes. I mean, it's fun, dude. Oh, this one. Oh gosh. All right, guys. If you vocal fry your speech, I'm gonna call you out. It's so annoying. Dear God, it's annoying.
So the first one that I posted there was about vocal fry, and that's a good intro one, because that's one that everybody is going to be able to spot this easily.
Is the one? Oh, the last one.
The last one is about tea dropping, which is kind of like, I would say that would be like a second level vocal analysis one that would be good to watch.
Let's go into vocal fry. I'm sorry, guys. I don't really like it that well. Ready? Let's see if it'll play it for me. Oh, the whole thing is going crazy. Oh no, I overloaded the capacity.
Yeah, your camera went blurry there for a minute too.
Probably the most common question that I'm asked as a professor at Hillsdale is, what happened to my
term becomes virtually a household word, but vocal fry is more or less that. Of course, familiarity isn't the same thing as understanding. In fact, it breeds contempt. So I thought I'd devote a video to the phenomenon. As many people understand it, vocal fry means a low, creaky kind of voice, which is used at the end of sentences by young American females of a certain type, and which is widely considered irritating and even dangerous.
The Kardashians, we get through things and we get through them together. My answer was no. Life is about hardship, enjoying the fruits of my labor and how you get through them. Creating so many memories here. Memories is all that we have at the end of the day. I wish that everybody knew how beautiful and delicious your heart was. Thank you. No, labor, things together. Memories here. Everybody knew at the end of the day, heart was. Thank you.
So let's explore all of that.
Oh, don't do it. It's annoying. We all do it to a certain extent. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and he shows some good examples there too of where vocal fry is used in a much less annoying context, like James Bond with Sean Connery. James Bond, he talks almost exclusively in vocal fry. So there's some places where it's like, it's not bad. It's just, in other places, it's really, really annoying. And once you learn about what it is, it becomes like really, really obvious when people are doing it.
Oh, it's really bad. I went to a funeral and it was kind of sad to be there. And one of the people that were speaking, I kid you not, every single word that was said was in vocal fry. And I couldn't even listen to it. I'm like, oh, dear God. I know she means well, but it's like, oh, please, please, please don't do this.
And prior to knowing what it was, it probably wouldn't have annoyed you near as much.
Unlike the regularity of normal voicing, here slowed down massively by stroboscopy. A really common pattern in creaky voice or vocal fry is semi-regularity, with bigger, longer vibrations alternating with smaller, shorter
So this gets really into, the minutia of vocal fry, which of course we got to watch that, right? Because that's It's important. I don't know why.
Yeah, the tea dropping one is also another really good one. It goes into kind of the tendency for the, like in the Michigan accent, T's a lot of times get turned into D's, right? Well,
or we just don't say them at all.
Yeah, you can go one step further than that and get rid of the sound entirely and just basically turn it into a glottal stop. And in some cases, it goes even further than that. And so there's levels of T dropping that are also really unique to different accents. But that's going to be a video that's probably too long to be able to show, here today. But that's a really good video for people to watch.
We have one of the worst Michigan accents because I don't produce a lot of words. I don't articulate the words, the sounds at the ends of most of my words, and I know I do it.
I hyphenate ends a lot when I write.
I don't know what is happening here. Hang on a minute. Let me get past the ads.
Not hyphenate, apostrophize.
Okay, we've got a Liberty Mutual ad. Come on. Okay, let me see. We've got a soulmate ad coming up that's got some.
It's not often a phonetic term
not
becomes virtually a household word, but vocal fry is more or less that. Of course, familiarity isn't the same thing as understanding. In fact, it breeds contempt. So I thought I'd devote a video to the phenomenon. As many people understand it, vocal fry means a low, creaky kind of voice, which is used at the end of sentences by young.
Okay, this is a video number 2
of a certain type, and which is widely considered irritating.
Do you want me to go to this part or further?
For tea dropping, that was the other video that I posted to the channel or to the private chat.
Itself, failing independent.
Okay, let's see what we got there.
How to open your car door while submerged makes it virtually impossible to escape the car after crashing into water.
All right. Enough already.
This ingenious innovation elevates your survival.
I think I've overloaded the network here. All right, let me get rid of a few things and we'll see if anything will work here. Talk amongst yourselves, you may. Please.
Yeah, I think
this is interesting.
I think there's some network issues today because your video seems to be at this point kind of delayed by a couple of seconds and a little blurrier than everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah, look at this. It's like.
I have a question for Ralph about we were talking previously about CrowdStrike. Do you think that what Donna's guest Bob Terry was talking about had played any role in the CrowdStrike event?
Similar attack methodologies. I'm not sure that it's the same group necessarily, but anything with ring 0 kernel level access like that has kind of the same, it has the same privilege level. And I guess it would be like taking 2 different roads to get to the same place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't understand the tech. I just wondered if because when it first happened, I wondered if it had anything to do with if what he was talking about had anything to do with what was going on.
Not exactly,
because Bob was uncovering it.
Yeah, and Bob was talking more about Microsoft's ability to do that using various weaknesses that are built into the operating system itself. CrowdStrike is actually like an optional security service that can be installed into Windows and gives yet more backdoors to other people. So similar kinds of problems, but with access given to two different groups.
Okay. I got it.
So I'm having a hard time pulling up that other video with a T, with a glottal stop T, which is Michigan.
Yeah. And that's one that, oh, your video is less blurry again. Yeah. So yeah, T dropping is a good one. He's got a lot of really good videos on that channel though, about just general English accent differences and dialect differences. Another one that I think he did a video on it, but another good topic to look up is the side effects of the great vowel shift, which vowels are still shifting to this day in English in various different accents, even around America. So like you've got the caught merger going on in certain spots, but it all kind of stems from the great vowel shift in English. And there's some really good videos about how all of that works, but vowel shifting is another one where you can identify accents pretty effectively using vowel shifts.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop any other screens that we have going on.
Donna has a eye ability with colors. Ralph has a vocal auditory skill.
We can use it to identify the AIs, the fakes.
Yeah. Well, I've always liked linguistics. I've studied several different languages for years now, and I've always been fascinated with especially the grammar of different languages, more so than the vocabulary or even being able to speak them, but learning the grammar of different languages is just absolutely fascinating to me. So there's all kinds of really good resources out there for doing analysis of people's speech.
So, okay, boys and girls, so what do we establish today? Nothing that we see is real, and we're going to be okay anyway.
Yeah.
As it says in your intro, question everything.
There you go.
Especially if you see it on TV news.
Yeah. And nothing that we see you can trust. Go ahead and do your research. Don't even trust your research half the time. You got to trust it and then confirm and confirm. Just because you read it doesn't mean it's true, because they're using that too. But there's one thing you can always trust: God. And he'll never fail any of us. He's always here all the time. I bet he's laughing at this whole thing. I really do. I think he's got a good sense of humor. He created all of us. He's got to have a good sense of humor, right? And a lot of patience too, a whole lot of patience. But that's the one thing you can count on. The rest of it, we're just on an adventure here with a bunch of buddies. So we're on a buddy quest right now. I hope you know your buddies and who your friends are, because at the end of the day, all of this nonsense that we've been sold from Hollywood to the political celebrities and such, it doesn't matter. Yeah. The people around you are what matters. Your friends, your family, fighting for what's good, for stepping up in service. We need to decentralize everything and go back to smaller communities where the decisions are being made locally by the people. Yeah. And I personally think the entire federal government has only about 5 purposes, and that should be paid into by the states. And the rest of it, bye-bye. Yeah. The stroke of the pen, nullification, and it would be done, you know? Yep. And the same thing for the state. 90%, bye-bye, goodbye. Let's go back to local involvement. And so the people you're talking to. And if somebody gets out of line, the people that are there will hold them accountable and make them irrelevant. You can't do it in a structure like this. It's too big. It's way too big.
Yeah. I think that's Trump's plan. His ultimate plan.
Ultimate plan is ultimate plan. They say, trust the plan. I trust the plan because I know in the bottom of my heart, the plan's God's plan, because people's plans will always fail. God's plans will never be able to be stopped. no matter how bad people want to see things go in their way, ain't going to go in your way. It's going to go in God's way. And as soon as everybody gets that figured out, it's going to go in a good way because his ways are always good, right? So kind of an assurity. So we can all walk away from this today, boys and girls, knowing that we're in good hands. We're in God's hands. It's God's plan. I trust the plan. The plan's God's plan. So what else we need to know? That's it.
Right.
Pretty simple.
But try and do your part. Everybody still needs to help.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Tom says, I have a Southern California accent, but it's adapted to Michigan over time. Now I don't speak like anyone else. Well, that's good. If you don't speak with a Michigan accent, probably people can actually understand you. It's like, you ever go down to like Louisiana? I'll have people on the pipeline, a lot of guys from Louisiana that work on the pipeline and such, and they'll go through. I think it's hilarious, and they'll go through things, and they'll talk and talk and talk, and I won't understand a word they said, but they will end every sentence with, "You know what I mean?" And I'm like, no, you got to remember, you got to slow down just a little bit and use small words for people.
Yeah.
So, any last words here, guys? Or you want to keep going?
No, I'm good.
Either way.
What do you think about clones, David?
I think they're definitely a real thing. I think hopefully someday we'll find out about all the science that's out there that has probably been hidden from us. And it'll be a wonderful thing.
How about aliens? Let's throw everything out there today. Let's just break down every single barrier out there. Aliens, in or out?
In. Well, I think aliens, but not from space, that are here already.
I tend to think more that aliens would be effectively extra dimensional, not unlike angels and demons.
I think it depends. See, I'm one of these people. This is something that I learned from the assembly, that you have to examine word definitions. And so what is an alien? Or what is an extraterrestrial? And according to a flat earth theory that I heard recently, extraterrestrial means people beyond the Antarctic. So in that case, by that term, ET could very well be real and perhaps more advanced than we are, and maybe they're in charge of everything that's happening right now. I don't know.
Somebody's more advanced than we are. That's all I got to say.
I tend to find it interesting that if you start looking at like quantum mechanics and how they've been able to measure the Planck length, that everything is basically on a pixel grid, where there is a minimum length that things can move before they immediately, like instantly, snap to the next grid square.
No.
So questioning reality, well, there might as well start questioning the fabric of reality as well.
I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
That's it. So, well, let's go to our days. I just got invited out to a lunch here by my daughter, so I'm going to do that today, right now, and that'll be a great thing. So, anyhow, wish you guys were a little closer. You could all join us. So, but at any rate, let's go ahead and say a prayer, and then we're going to go into our day. It's going to be a great day. God's in control. It's God's plan. Every single day is God's plan. We don't ever need to get derailed on anything. Doesn't matter. Even if things go wrong. What's the worst thing in the world that can happen? We're going to die. We're going to die anyway. And we get to go to be with God. How is that a bad thing? I just don't see the problem there. It's an assured thing, and it's not something to be afraid of. God's there. It's going to be great. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not worried. You guys worried?
No.
Nope.
Not worried at all. In fact, I actually had an experience one time where I was able to see the other side.
Wow.
And I did not want to come back.
Wow.
I was like, no, don't make me go back. I'm like, please don't make me go back. I don't want to go back. And of course, God smiled at me and thought it was really funny and said, yeah, you're going back.
You're not done yet.
I was like, no, don't send me back. I don't want to go back, please. So,
and you read through the Bible too, and King Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylon Empire were evil and terrible, right? Except you start reading through there, and basically God specifically assigned the punishment of the apostate nation of Israel to Nebuchadnezzar. So, and then they figured out, oh, I guess this was a learning experience,
Yeah.
But even that was used for good.
Yeah, just walk away from God and watch him throw our sorry butts out in the desert for a while to learn how unsmart we are. That happens a lot. And I'm sure he's sitting back and looking at all of us and going, how's that working for you?
Yep.
So, all right. Well, let's say a prayer and go into our day. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for being with us today. And I'm sure that this was a fun conversation for you too. Thank you for giving us the ability to talk to each other and come together with people who we love and can enjoy time together and explore the things that you put in our paths and bring people along with us on a buddy quest where we're working together to bring all glory and honor to you and everything, because it all comes from you anyway. And I know we just screw it up. Everything we touch, we screw up. So we're sorry. And we want to be better. Guide us and help us keep our eyes on you so we screw up less. And thank you so very much for Ralph and Karen and David and all the wonderful people out there that are listening. We had quite a crew listening out there today. I was watching the numbers. It was interesting. And I ask your blessings on every single person. Please protect President Trump and every single real everyday American out there who is trying to make sense of what we're seeing, because it's a lot to process for a lot of people. Give everyone courage to know that it doesn't matter which way the road bends. You're already there and you know what's going on and you plan this and it's going to be okay. And we know that it's going to be okay because trust the plan means trust your plan. And we're all good with that. It's fantastic. What a great thing. And even though we might get temporarily annoyed with things and wish they would go different, I think that's part of being human. And we'll try not to do that, but it's probably going to fall down on that one once in a while. And we're so very thankful that you care enough about us that you walk with us every single day and show us the things that you want us to do. Please bring the things to our mind and put them right in front of us that you want us to use our talents and our gifts for, and help us to listen to you. We're not always tuned in as best as we could be, but help us to listen to you. Shout a little louder sometimes because the distractions of life kind of get in the way. Thank you so very much for everyone. May your favor rest upon every single person and your blessings who is here. And your strength, your courage, discernment, and wisdom. We thank you so very much. You're a great friend to us, and we want to be a friend to you, and we love you. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. There you go. Amen. So, guys, that part of the show, ding, 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 right there. Back to what Karen said. I am not conceding, so I'm still going to do this, what I said I'm going to do. It may make a few people a little uncomfortable with the shifts, usually the ones that are on the payroll for taking illegal money and such. I mean, that's going to be a painful moment, right? Yeah. But with that said, it's going to be great. I am the best non-conceder who's ever not conceded in the history of the United States of America, and I'm going to keep that title until I talk to the real President Trump face to face. And with that said, God bless you. God bless all those whom you love, and God bless America. Make it a great day. Don't be afraid to question things. They don't want you to question things. They don't want you to. They want to make you think that you're going to look stupid for saying something that disagrees with the mainstream. Well, you know what? Nobody ever changed anything that went along with the crowd. Yeah. That's not how it works. The people that really change things risk. They risk pissing people off. They risk saying the wrong thing. They risk doing things that isn't in lockstep with everybody else. Those are the only people that change things. And I'm going to ask you today, dare to be that kind of person. And if you don't have an example, go be one. And the things that you know that are wrong, if you know something's wrong in your heart and you want to speak out, get loud, get really loud. Challenge those people that have this narrative. Don't be afraid to call them out. Don't be afraid to call out a bunch of worthless neocons that are funding all of this subversion. It's a direct attack against you, your family, and the United States of America. And there are some of us who will never back down. We might get pissed. We might chew tail. We might do things that aren't popular. We may put out mean tweets. Oh no, President Trump puts out mean tweets. I love the mean tweets. You keep putting those mean tweets out, real President Trump. And the truth, and everybody else too. But never, ever, ever stop, because not until we have defeated the last shred of evil will some of us ever stop. Ain't gonna happen. So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to be on live Thursday and Friday. I might be able to be on to introduce things, but I think I'm just going to play those interviews from Turning Point USA there that I went to, just so you guys know too. I've got an event to go to again, so it seems like my travel schedule is being amped up a little bit, which probably is a good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we're not done with this yet. We're not done with the pummeling of the bad guys, and we're not done with any of it. And to one of my friends who likes to goad me a little bit, and you know who you are, without putting any names or identifiers out there, Mr. likes to poke Brandenburg to see if he can poke her to get her to come back to fight again. It never leaves, but I am gonna be ornery about stuff that I see that is wrong. So you're gonna have to just get over it. I identify as saying whatever the hell I want to say. So anyhow, have a great day. Change the world. You have the ability to do that, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.